So let's go ahead. Just gonna make sure I could see the chat as well. Okay. So Comcast RISE stands for Representation, Investment, Strength, and Empowerment. This was a program that Comcast created during the pandemic, so in 2020, to provide small businesses with the assistance they needed to survive. And since then, we've revised the program and evolved it. And now it's really focused on helping communities thrive economically. And so it is currently going on. The application period began on June 1st and is running through June 30th. And so you essentially have tomorrow and then next week to apply. At the end of next week, so next Friday, the application period will close. And then the recipients will be announced on August 22nd. RISE has changed a little bit this year versus previous years. And I'd love to go through now what selected businesses will receive. And then we could talk about what the eligibility requirements are. And I have more detailed information that I'll share later in the presentation regarding eligibility requirements as well. So this year, eligible businesses who are selected to receive the grant will receive consulting. So this is a general business assessment and consulting to provide business owners with recommendations on how to grow their business. So it's essentially, mentoring and telling you how to grow your business. Creative production, we will help you create a 30-second television commercial, and then we'll air it on a 180-day linear media schedule to help promote your business. A technology makeover, computer equipment and complementary connectivity, voice, and security services for 12 months. Education, which is a little bit like the consulting, 12-month access to online entrepreneurship courses, learning modules, and resources for small business owners. So if you're interested in learning more about entrepreneurship and again, how you could take your business to the next level, we will provide resources for that. And then finally, a $5,000 monetary grant that you can use however you want. You don't need to provide Comcast with an accounting of how you use it. There's no reports required. It's yours to use how you see fit to help support your business. The program this year is in Baltimore, Detroit, Memphis, Philadelphia, and Portland. And so it's in multiple cities across the country. But here in Philadelphia, we are awarding 100 of these grants. And then there's another 100 in Portland, Memphis, Detroit. But in Philadelphia, it's 100 grants. Some very brief eligibility requirements. And as I explained later, I'll go through these in a little bit more depth. But the owner must be at least 18 years of age or older, and it's a primary decision maker for the business. And so we really want entrepreneurs and small business owners who are really engaged in their business and over the age of 18. No more than 100 full-time and part-time employees. That has risen a bit since previous iterations. I think it used to be 30 employees. Now it's about 100. Established business operations for at least 3 calendar years. This can sometimes get some folks who maybe started their business a few years ago, but for this program, it's at least 3 calendar years. As we've discussed, it needs to be in Philadelphia, so in Philadelphia County. So if you run a business and it's in Upper Darby or Montgomery County or Bucks County, unfortunately, you wouldn't be eligible for this program. You need to have your business be in the city of Philadelphia. And then you can see more official rules at ComcastRISE.com legal, and I will put some things in the chat so you can see them. I think we can also, if you have any questions, just feel free to raise your hand or put them in the chat. I'm happy to stop at any point in the presentation to answer questions, and of course we can have a lot of questions at the end as well. So how to apply is you go to ComcastRISE.com and you will see a big button here that says apply now. And you're going to hit that button and it's going to take you to this page. And how the application looks is, as I said before, June 1st to June 30th. There's 2 parts of the application. There's the eligibility criteria form, which takes about 5 minutes, we estimate. And then there's the application itself, which is 45 to 60 minutes. The eligibility criteria form is a series of questions that will determine whether you're eligible to move on to the application. One thing I want to mention here is that once you submit this, it cannot be changed. So if you put something like you have 200 employees and then you hit submit and it's deemed ineligible, you will not be able to go back to edit it. So just be very intentional as you are completing that form. Take a few looks at it, make sure everything is correct before you hit submit. Once you hit submit and you are cleared to proceed because you are eligible, the application you will go into, and that's going to take about 60 minutes. If you don't have an account, what it's going to ask you to do is to, first what you'll do, is come in here to sign in. And then once you do that, you will see either sign in if you have an account or register for a new account. So if you need to register for a new account, it'll ask you to put in your email, a password, confirm password. Then it'll ask you to validate the email. So it'll send you an email and ask you to validate it. The type of process we all experience, multiple times, probably a month at this point, as we log into new accounts for various services. So once you've done that and hit register, you'll come back to this page again. And then here's where you'll come down here to RISE application. I will put this email address in the chat, Comcast RISE support@ey.com. But if you have any questions as you're filling out the application, this is the email to send your questions to. You can also email me, but candidly, I am running around and may not get back to you as soon as if you put it in Comcast RISE support@ey.com, and they are a little bit more knowledgeable about some of the more technical aspects of the application. And so that is the best email to use. So if you go to ComcastRISE.com, what you'll see here is the application criteria. Now, I know the type isn't very good here and it's very small, but I'm just going to read off some of the things that I said before. So owner must be 18 years old. The person has to be the primary decision maker for the business and actively engage in the day-to-day operations of the business. The owner has to have at least 51% of the equity of the business. The business has to be independently owned and not operated as a franchise location. So if you, if you are a franchisee and own your own McDonald's or KFC or other franchise, those organizations are unfortunately not eligible for this program. And we're really looking for those small, independently owned and operated businesses. The business has to have been actively operating for at least 3 years, which we discussed. And then organizations or businesses that are not eligible may fall into some of these categories that I'm going to discuss. Nonprofit organizations. Comcast supports nonprofits in a variety of ways, but nonprofits are not eligible for this program. We're really targeting businesses, chambers of commerce, public or private education providers that participate in FCC's E-rate program. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it, but that's essentially like libraries and other organizations that are purchasing internet services using dollars from the federal government. We are unable to support those due to conflicts of interest because we're an internet service provider. Churches or religious organizations, political advertisers, marijuana dispensaries, manufacturers or retailers of drug paraphernalias, virtual MVPD. My feedback to the RISE team next year is going to be to say exactly what that is, but MVPD means multi-video platform developer or something. So if you're Netflix or Hulu, unfortunately, you're not eligible to submit for this program. Internet service providers and others, you can look at these as you get to this page. Employees of Comcast Corporation are not eligible to submit. Also, some other organizations like Ernst & Young, only one submission per business owner. And one thing I do want to mention that's very important is that if you have submitted an application to Project RISE in the past and have not been selected, then you are still eligible to apply for this program. If you have received a RISE grant or RISE services in the past for your business, then you are not eligible to apply to this round of grants. So we're really trying to target new businesses who haven't received any of the RISE services in the past. If you have multiple businesses, let's say you own a hair salon and then you also own and operate like a small independent daycare facility, and the hair salon has received services through RISE, but the daycare center has not, then you can apply for RISE on behalf of the daycare center as well. Hopefully that makes sense. So what you would do here is hit the begin application button right here. And then it'll take you to the eligibility form. Now I'm just gonna back up a quick minute to these two slides. After you do the eligibility quiz and you get into the actual grant, here are the documents that you should have handy. And these are really the extent of the financial information and documentation we're going to ask you. The first is your company's W-9, the business owner's social security number or employment identification number, and then one of the following articles that we can use to help prove that your organization has been in business for at least 3 years. Either your incorporation articles or your EIN tax ID or partnership documents or your official registration or business license. If you also have a tax return for your business that is more than 3 years old, that would be acceptable as well. So, this information is all obviously included in the application. You will find this, but just wants to give you a heads up that these are the types of documents that we're going to be asking for as you complete the application. As I mentioned before, this is the best email to ping if you need any have any questions. I'm just going to put it in the chat right now. Comcast RISE support at ey.com. And then we're going to come here, which is the eligibility criteria form, just to give you a peek of what it looks like. The major market where your business is located and operated. Here you want to say Philadelphia, if in fact your business is located in Philadelphia. Are you 18 years of age? Is your business a franchise? Hopefully you would select no, because if you select yes, you would be ineligible. Is your business part of any of the industries listed below? Exactly what I talked about earlier. You can take a look at that as well. If awarded a grant, are you willing to accept an electronic payment? We try not to send out paper checks just because of the possibility they could get lost or damaged. And so we try to do everything by electronic payment. And then, have you ever received a Comcast RISE award? As I discussed before, if you received the monetary grant, technology makeover, creative or media award, or consultation for your business, then you would not be eligible to submit again. In previous years, the investment fund was different than the technology makeover, creative or media award, or consultation. This is the first year that it's all kind of been combined into one grant package. But still, if you've received any of those awards over the past years, then you are not eligible to resubmit this year. If you have submitted a request for those and have not been selected, then you are eligible to reapply again. After you submit this and you come on to the next round because you are deemed eligible, you will see the different parts of the actual application below, parts A through H. A lot of these are really kind of simple, either binary yes or no questions, or things like contact information, company profile, demographic information to the extent you have it, company financials, and part D is where you're going to upload those documents that we discuss. So now there are some of these questions, like about you and your business, community engagement, promoting diversity and inclusion, and growth strategy, where they are essentially small like dialogue boxes of no more than 2,000 words, where you have the opportunity to write very short essay to help kind of sell and promote your business and yourself, and stand out from the other applications. I do want to take a minute to let you know how the applications are judged and awarded. The applications are judged and awarded by a second party that Comcast has essentially designated this task to, so that we are able to prevent any appearance of a conflict of interest. And we do not learn who is selected for the program until the day before the program is a day before the winners are announced. So I mentioned before how the winners are announced on August 22nd. We do not learn who the winners are until like August 20th or August 21st. And so I wanted to let you know that, just because to let you know and make sure you understand that we do not select winners. If you have Comcast internet services, we don't look at how much a month you pay to Comcast, or if you take Comcast internet. None of that is considered in who is awarded this application. And Comcast employees are not the ones going through and selecting these. It's all a neutral, non-aligned third-party organization. So let's talk about you and your business, parts E, community engagement, promoting diversity and inclusion, and growth strategy. So about you and your business, we'd love to know, what is your story? How did you begin your business? And why is your business important to you? How did you think up your business? What is your passion for your business? We just love to understand that background of, how you came to your business and what your passion is for it, and tell us that story. For our community engagement, how do you support the community? It doesn't have to be through like sponsorships. It doesn't have to be writing, a $1,500 check to the United Way or the local Little League team. It can be more than that. Maybe you are the only hair salon in your business, in your community that offers a certain type of hair care. I saw earlier that there was like an acupuncturist. Maybe you're working with people that can't get those services anywhere else. How are you a part of the fabric of your community and your section of the city? And how do you engage with the community? Why is your business important to the community? Promoting diversity and inclusion. This is very important to us. How are you creating space for others? And how are you making sure that everybody in the community feels included to frequent your business or to work at your business? And then part E, growth strategy. What is your strategic vision for your business? Where do you see your business in 5 years? How would you like to grow your business? And how would you utilize the RISE services in order to do that? If you were to receive the monetary grant and the technology makeover, the Creative or Media Award, how would that play a part in your growth strategy? Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Maybe I'll stop here and ask if there are any questions. Let me just make sure I see I'm looking at the Q&A as well. Okay, well, I don't see anything in the webinar chat, so I'm just going to kind of keep moving forward. So that is really the application. Once you hit submit for the application, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so I could see everybody. Once you hit submit for the application, you will receive obviously a notification that the application has been successfully submitted. We will send you emails and text messages if you begin the application and don't finish it, just to let you know that the deadline is coming up. And again, at this point, there's like a week and a couple of days to complete the application. Other things I want to mention in terms of eligibility is that it needs to be a physical location. So if you are working from home, or let's say you have a business where it's like a food truck, or you go to like a park every Saturday and sell your goods there, that unfortunately would not be an eligible business. It needs to be a brick and mortar location. Although I will tell you that we are doing like a pretty extensive analysis regarding that rule and may revise that for future iterations of the RISE program. But for at least this year, it has to be a brick and mortar location. So again, that's really the presentation. I'm trying to think of anything that I missed or that I haven't discussed. So.
Yes, thank you, Bill. Thank you so much for sharing that information. I do want to remind everybody, this is your chance to get your questions answered live with someone from Comcast RISE. I know people mentioned they didn't get approved the first time, so it's a great way to make sure that you have everything you need to have a winning application and you have the person right here. So I don't want you to miss that opportunity to ask any additional questions or any tips that Bill may be able to share. And thank you so much, Bill, for that wonderful presentation and information about the Comcast RISE opportunity. So if you have any questions that you would like to share or comments or concerns, whatever it may be, please feel free to place those in the chat box, raise your hand, or a Q&A. Looks like we do have one raised hand from Sonia Edwards. So Sonia, I am unmuting you. You can go ahead and speak. And Sonia, you'll just need to unmute.
Oh, okay. Unmute.
There you go.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Bill, thank you. Thank you both for doing this, because yes, last year I was not approved. I didn't know why I wasn't approved, but just walking through and sharing how detail matters, you know, being specific matters, and telling our story really helped me, because I'm one of I try to say as least words as possible, especially in my writing, but now I understand the more I share, the better it strengthens my opportunity. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it is important. I think that plays a big role in how they choose the recipients, because you could look at data all you want, but unless you have that personal story, it's very hard to really understand, you know, the purpose of the business and the passion behind it. Now, I did see a question that if your business is registered at your home address, then you're not currently eligible. So that unfortunately is correct. If you have a, and I am not like a business incorporation tax expert, which is where I think that email that I sent earlier, Comcast RISE support at ey.com, they could be a little bit more precise in answering that question than I can. But if you have like a brick and mortar business, but it's not registered there, it's registered at home, that may be a nuance that it'd be worth exploring. But if you have a business that you're essentially operating out of your home, then as of right now, that you would not be eligible for this year's program. And that may change in future iterations of the program. As I said, we have heard that feedback that a lot of businesses are virtual these days, and so are listening to that feedback and are doing an analysis of that to understand whether we need to make revisions to the program moving forward.
Thank you. All right. Yes, Cassie said that's the problem. We work out of our home in the field. Also have Caroline, who mentioned my home address is where my business is legally located, but I have a brick and mortar. How do I ensure I don't get excluded because of that?
Yeah, I would email that question to the Comcast RISE support at ey.com, and they can give you information on exactly how to phrase that in the application so that you make it through that eligibility criteria form.
Okay, and I'll repost that email address here.
Thank you, Marla. I appreciate
everyone. I think Marla beat me to it. There we go.
Yeah, perfect.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. This is good.
By the way, it is very much worth applying. I got a question on another webinar. Well, you know, are there 5,000 applications and only 100 get selected? So what are the odds I get selected? Is it even worth? You know, I wish there were 5,000 applications. I'd probably do very well internally if I could get 5,000 applications, but there's not 5,000 applications. There's fewer than that. And so you do have a very good chance of receiving the grant if you do apply, and I would encourage everybody to do so. I don't, you know, as I said before, we don't make the selections. I'm not in the boardroom somewhere, you know, saying this application, but not that application. Let's award it to this one. It is all done by a third party. And so sometimes I am unable to articulate why they chose one over another if they're both very, you know, valid entries. But you know, if you're not selected, please let me know, and we'll see, you know, if there's any context or any information we could find out why, so you can revise your application for next year.
Thank you. And just a reminder, ComcastRISE.com is where you can go for the application, and it's open up until June 30th. So please go ahead and submit your applications. Questions coming in, please share those, raise your hand, use our Q&A, type in our chat box. We'll be sure to answer those, or comments. And we have Marla, our wonderful Marla, who's also sharing some comments in the chat. Please be sure to check that out as well. Any other questions, guys? Or comments? Or Bill, any additional information or tips you may have as well? I
would just say to start your application probably earlier rather than later. if you have an opportunity to do it tomorrow or early next week, I would start the application. It does say, it takes like 15 minutes for the eligibility criteria form and then about an hour for the application. But sometimes those times can really vary depending on whether you have your business articles and your financial information together and how long you take to write essays. I take very long. I feel like I write essays on my email for work all the time now, but I can remember in college sitting down and writing an essay and always finish the class. And so they estimate an hour, but it can take longer depending on if you know what you want to say and all that type of stuff. So give yourself plenty of time and make sure you hit the submit button by the 30th.
Great comment. And as Marla mentioned, Philadelphia small businesses did very well in the previous iteration of Comcast RISE. So please, please don't worry about the numbers. Just get your application in. You never know. It may be your lucky day this time. So get your applications in and be sure to do it as soon as possible. She also shared that remember the focus for awardees is Philadelphia businesses with BIPOC owners as well. So that is something that they're super open to, and that, making sure that this is equitable and people all across the board get these opportunities. So get your applications in ASAP. Kathy said it would be helpful that the whole brick and mortar thing be in the eligibility.
I agree. I'm sure it is somewhere in the application. I just wanted to highlight that. But completely agree with you that it should be very well and clearly stated in the application itself, and we'll provide that feedback.
They're asking the app halfway down, but not that you can't get it that way. Okay. Yes, a few more tips coming in here in the chat box. And Marla did make a great point. Please be sure to take advantage of, as Bill mentioned, the Comcast RISE support email address. Please email them for any additional support or questions you may have that weren't able to be covered today, or things that you may run across when you're completing that application. We want to make sure that you get all the help that you can so that this opportunity isn't lost to you. So please go ahead and email them today. And matter of fact, go ahead and get it done right now. Type it up. You're already in the mood to get it out while it's fresh on your mind, and queue up that email to send to them right now. Perfect. Kathy's already on it. She said she's drafting an email as well. So you're good, Kathy. Great.
Great.
So she's on it. Any other questions? We definitely don't want to lag the time for you guys, but we also don't want to be remiss to miss anyone if you have any additional questions or comments for us as you go through this process. Feel free to raise your hand, include any information in our chat box and Q&A. And I see Marla's been sharing things throughout as well, so please take heed to her advice and information. Okay. All right.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. I really appreciate it, and I hope you all choose to apply. And as I said, we are here to help with any questions, so please feel free to email that support email address, and good luck.
Yes, good luck, everyone. A huge, huge thank you again to our wonderful partners at Comcast RISE. We really appreciate partnering with you every single year. We appreciate all that you're doing for the business community. Any way that we can take part, we're happy to do so. I'm sure Marla would say the same. Bill, thank you so much for all of that helpful information. Thank you to our attendees. Really, thank you for coming in and getting information you need to grow. And so round of applause for you today. We appreciate you joining us. I do want to remind you, as you go out, to check out our upcoming events. So pidcphila.com/events. You will find various topics for information sessions that'll help you grow your business, just like the Comcast RISE program. So please go to our website at pidcphila.com/events. And hope to see you soon at an upcoming event, guys. Thank you again. Thank you, Bill. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.